I'm going to drop my classic line when I say, like, I hate to be overly simplistic, but on the wall topic, and of course it ties into Jack Campbell, I feel like the team as well has just been like getting the save. And it's not a matter of like a 5-star sliding, diving save to just rob someone, but that solid save when you're up by 1 or up by 2 to keep your team in the lead or keep your team comfortable. And I will say it, and like, I hate to shit on him. He's having a great year, but I felt like Freddie let us down with that often. Whereas like, not like a terrible goal would beat him, but just be like, oh, like
that
Fred,
deflating
like,
moment,
a deflating moment.
Like, just give us one save.
Yeah, you couldn't come up big now. Where I feel like we're getting that from Campbell and Wall. Like, again, like Wall makes those saves at the end of the first period. Those big saves. I mean, one of those goes in, the game's completely different. And then you can always look back at games and pick and choose certain moments, but the kids look good. And I think it's like kind of like a topic that's not getting enough attention and then everyone's talking about how great Jack Campbell's been, but I think that moment of like, they're up by 2, there's a decent save made, or like up by 1 save, or a save early. And again, not crazy saves, just something that's like keeping us confident. Right.
It's a great point, Lepore, because I think back to Freddie Anderson, even some of his moments in the playoffs. And to be fair, even Jack Campbell had a moment like that in the playoffs in Game 7 when he let in that weak goal from Brendan Gallagher. But it just seems like right now, specifically during this 14-2 run, they are getting every big save in every big moment exactly when the team needs it.
Yeah.
And, maybe we're going to see some regression. Jack Campbell right now has a 946 save percentage.
I didn't even know it was that high.
That's not going to continue. Like, that's just insane. He's playing out of his mind. He's playing himself onto Team USA at this point, whereas before the season, I don't think anyone thought he was going to make the American Olympic team. But is he really going to continue here with a 946 save percentage?
How many games has he played, Bruno?
So he is 12-4-1. So he's played 17 games and has a 946.
Like, even for 17 games, 946 has got to be like, I know like it's historically good, but like historically good. Yeah, like, it's on a 5-game sample size, or it's 17 games. Like,
so at some point, there's probably going to be a stretch here where the Leafs aren't getting every save like we're seeing now, but you ride the hot streak when you can, right? No one's going to complain.
Something I've always wondered, and this is like a topic totally out of left field, is like, you hear about these advanced stats guys and these guys that follow the metrics. And like, here we are talking about Campbell, how there's going to be some regression because the numbers based on like historical data of the sport don't make sense. Is there that thing in the mind of like the GM or whoever runs the stuff that like, you hope it happens just like in one small span? Like, for example, like we talk about a save percentage. Are you hoping there's a game where, the Leafs lose and Campbell gets beaten for like 5 goals on 22 shots? Like, just because that evens it out, but it's just one game. Like, I've always kind of wondered that if they just don't hope it's like gradual, like you don't want them over 10 games having like an 8.50 or 9 save percentage. But if there's just one game where he's pathetic, it's one game. You know what I mean? Like, I've always had that in the back of my mind.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
You'd rather have one blow up game where everything goes wrong instead of like a steady decline where you're going, over a 2 to 3 week stretch where your goalie's given up 3 or more goals almost every single night.
Yeah. Like, on the flip side, like scoringly, we talked about earlier in the season how certain guys' shooting percentages were terrible and like didn't make sense. They'll use Matthews as an example. You don't want him to have a game where he gets like 4 goals on 5 shots, because I know that it all happens in one game. You should want it to be steady. You want it to be steady over a longer period of time to even it out. But I mean, stuff you can't really control. But I've always just kind of wondered if like these advanced stats departments, like that's what they're hoping for. It's something they can't control and just something they really hope to see when their teams jump on the ice.
Yeah, I think that's what all Leaf fans are hoping from Campbell at this point. It's like, sure, we will totally forgive you if you have a bad game and you allow 5 or 6 goals. Just don't make it a trend. Bounce right back and be the Jack Campbell that we've seen now over the last 2 seasons.